This is really important. Our district attorney's race is in its final month right now. District Attorney Larry Krasner facing a challenger, Carlos Vega, in the May 18th primary election.
Yeah, and it comes at a time when the city certainly is facing a lot of gun violence. Let's bring in Carlos Vega right now. Carlos, may I call you Carlos for the rest of the interview?
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. Before we get started here, hey, let's go back to the Derek Chauvin verdict. Did the jury get it right?
Absolutely. It was a fair verdict, and what highlighted how the court system's supposed to work. It showed that it was fair jurors who came with a proper verdict, and it showed professional prosecutors who were doing their job. I fear to think of when, if Larry Krasner had a case of that magnitude, was he up to the challenge? As we see, the police need policing, but also Krasner has created a different issue where the district attorney's office has to be policed. We see the example of the chief of homicide in a road rage incident where he abused his powers to have a black female arrested. She's lost her job, she's lost her license, and there has been no accountability in terms of what has happened to him. He's still in the office. He has not received any kind of ramifications for his consequences. And we see that Krasner talks about caring about communities of color, yet we see that it's a hypocrite. He has not done anything concerning what that abuse of power has done to this black female.
Let's talk about you. We'll try to have Mr. Krasner on later on. If not tomorrow, then sometime next week. We noticed that of a lot of police jurisdictions now, there's so much transparency. They're releasing, body cam footage within hours of an incident happening. Do you like that idea? Would you make sure that, because that's not been the way it's been in Philadelphia. Are you for more transparency?
Absolutely, we need transparency. The public needs to be kept abreast. The police need to be held accountable. And it's great that we have body cams. I think every officer in Philadelphia should have a body cam, as well as state troopers who have cameras in their police cars. So they could be totally transparent. That way police could be held accountable, but by that same measure to see whether they're acting professionally.
Not all our cops have cameras, and not all of our cops have tasers, for goodness sake.
And I was going to bring up, so right now that's one of the negotiating things on the table right now with the union, which is trying to get a deal right now. So what would you do differently? I mean, you have so much support of the police union. They're obviously contributing, political donations, and they're telling people to vote for you, endorsing you as well. How do we police our police? What would you do differently?
Well, the way we police our police is, number one, body cams with all police officers. Secondly is bringing in the community along with the police department. What we have is a fracturing of the police not communicating with the public. The public, religious leaders need to be part of that training, and they need to speak together. As we see, communities of color want the police there, but they want them to act appropriately. Mm-hmm. The police have to address their needs. And finally, in terms of their education, I believe that the police have been training themselves. If I come in, I would definitely have the training to be from the police academy onward, that the DA's office, judges, and community leaders are part of that process in educating them.
I think the election is going to come down to, does somebody have a solution to the gun violence in our city? Now, I know that other cities are having a tougher time than we are over the last year and a half. I know people think, well, there's Chicago, then there's Philadelphia. That's not the case. There are many, I think we have a graph, there's many more cities that have it tougher than us when it comes to homicides. And none of it's good. I'm not saying that Philly's in a better spot, but none of it's good. So did I read that you said that there might be somewhat of an easy fix to the gun violence problem?
Well, let's talk about this statistic. Per capita, Philadelphia is #1 in shooting deaths. We're above Chicago, we're above New York. And in terms of easy fix, we have to realize we cannot incarcerate ourselves out of this problem. The fix is, or the way we address this, is through a focused deterrence program. What that does is we address the issue of that small group of youth that are perpetrating the violence. And then as district attorney, you start that coalition working with federal agencies, state agencies, and community leaders, and go to those people perpetrating the violence and say, listen, we know what you're doing, and we're gonna come after you if you keep it up. So put the guns down. By that same measure, in that focused deterrence program that we institute, we also give them another way out of job training, social services, and we keep true to that promise. But tell them unequivocally, if you don't put down the guns, we're coming after you. The second part of that program would be this: to aggressively prosecute gun crime, murders, shootings, gunpoint robberies, carjackings, and also felons having guns. You put in seasoned prosecutors, give them the resources to do those investigations and take those cases to court and prosecute them appropriately and be successful. So you might call it easy fix. It's a common sense solution because we have solutions rather than excuses.
One of the things you said right there is we can't incarcerate our way out of this, and we have.
Seems like we're trying.
One of the highest mass incarceration rates in the entire country when you look at all of the numbers there across the entire country. This was such a tough year, though, Mr. Vega, when it comes to, you say, it's a small number of our children. I mean, we've been seeing that 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds and 14-year-olds committing crime in a year when many weren't in school because we have the problems with the pandemic, which is there, and kids aren't in school, and what do we do? It's such a huge social issue. What do you, I mean, that has a huge component of what's been happening over this year, where normally our children might have much more supports. We didn't have our rec centers. We didn't have any of our community programs. We're just starting to get back to that now.
Well, the solution to that is this. And yes, there was an issue of not being in schools and rec centers being closed, but absolutely, we have to deal with the issue of consequences. There are messages sent out when there's a revolving door. We see Commissioner Outlaw has been begging for the aid of the district attorney's office. The police are doing their job and removing guns in record numbers, yet there is no accountability. As she says, it's a revolving door. If you read the articles of the Inquirer, the prosecution is at a low level. It's horrible what is going on. He is not addressing that issue. But in respect to the youth, we have to see that the community has to be engaged in that issue. I saw during the pandemic, a lot of community leaders were having sports programs in the park, keeping children safe. So absolutely, we have to address that issue.
The courts were also closed, though, also with part of the prosecutions. One of the issues is we had a lot of our courts that would have been prosecuting many of these cases, and doors weren't even open.
Many people, including Mr. Krasner, said that the pandemic has been a factor in all of the shootings across America. We talked to him a little bit about that. You brought up Commissioner Outlaw. What kind of a grade would you give our commissioner?
Well, I can't give a grade. I mean, I would give, let's say, a B+, because I see from the stats when I've seen her talk to city council, I see that her police are doing the job, removing guns, illegal guns at record rates. The problem is she's being hampered by the fact that the DA's office, Mr. Krasner, is not helping her in terms of she wants the stats of why he is dropping the charges on so many gun cases. The gun prosecution is down at record levels.
Thank you for coming on. We could do an hour and a half, and maybe we will at a later date, but we're running out of time here.
Well, I know you're running out of time, but remember, it's important that May 18th is election time. I need your vote. And also, I would love to come back further because I remember, and I watch your show all the time, I remember the last time Krasner was on, you stated that we haven't seen you in a while, and he turned crazy. It's the first time I've ever seen you angry.
No.
So next time I see you, I want to talk to you, get more engaged in what my plans are and to save the city, because it's important that I be heard. Well, and I enjoy speaking to you.
We enjoyed speaking to you too. We just got to, be fair and give equal time to every candidate. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Mr. Vega, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and certainly you've been with, our city for a long, long time. Thank you. We appreciate it.
And again, we put out, thank you, an invitation to DA Krasner, and I believe he may be on tomorrow. If not, sometime next week.